Just last month, Apple unveiled the Apple Vision Pro headset to overall generally favorable reviews. For the most part, there were a few issues that a lot of people pointed out, but overall it was pretty much well received. And there were many out there who were thinking that the Vision Pro would be the new iteration, would be the standard bearer for the next iteration of AR and VR headsets, and that they would sell like gangbusters. But that is not going to be the case. As you can see here, Apple is running into production issues. So they are going to have to scale back or pull back some of their initial forecasts. And in this video, I'm going to cover a couple articles that will talk about what is going on, what is the problem, and what particularly is causing this production slowdown. But before we dive into the details here, if you are new to this channel and enjoy this type of content, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. Also, hit that like button if you like this type of content. All right, let's jump right into it. This is an article out of TechCrunch.com. Apple reportedly slashes Vision Pro production, pushes back cheaper model. What would success look like for the Vision Pro? That's still an open question, or perhaps a series of interrelated questions. First, how many Apple expects to sell and what industry analysts are forecasting. Second is who precisely is buying. Third is the timeline. Now, I addressed a couple of these issues, the first two in the previous video where I talked about how many I thought Apple would be expected to sell. I said if they sold a few 100,000, I think that would be a success. But according to this information right here, we may not even get to that number, but we'll dive into that. And second, who is this precisely for? Again, in that video, I did talk about that this is targeted towards probably higher end people, obviously Apple people who love Apple products. This is not going to be for your average consumer. First of all, the AR VR headset is very niche. It's not doing very well right now. So that's going to be for a very specific person out there, somebody who would not mind spending $3,500. So yeah, and third timeline, I didn't discuss in that. We're expecting that to be November, not November, but early 24, probably first quarter. So the third is the timeline, and as in how slow of a burn is acceptable. Few, if any, expect system like this to see iPhone levels of success overnight. Yes, of course not. This is a $3,500 compared to what, $1,000 to $1,200, $1,300 iPhone, something that you use all the time every day. Yeah, this is not going to sell that many. Rumors of forecast cuts predate the actual Vision Pro announcement. While the $3,500 price tag only exacerbated doubt among analysts as to why the mixed reality or spatial computing, if you will, headset is going for so much. Well, beyond Apple's standard premium pricing, there's the whole first production thing. Yep. There was a reported 7 to 8 years of R&D, followed by the creation of custom hardware components. Yep, all of that will add to the delay and the cost, which Apple obviously wants to reap the benefits, which is why you have that $3,500 price tag. Of course, we all know that scaling brings hardware prices down, but being the first to market with certain technologies will generally result in higher premiums. And on top of that, you're paying the Apple premium as well. Those two tiny 4K displays appear to what have been the primary culprit. They are also implicated in the latest report of forecast slashing, though this one appears to be more of an issue of manufacturing than perceived demand. Yeah, so it comes down to it that it is the display that is causing the issue for Apple at this point, that is causing them to have to slow down production and cut the forecast. Specifically, the micro LED displays for the wearer, or when you're looking at it, and on the outside is that outward facing curved lenticular lens that is causing the issue here. Two key components, but two expensive components, but clearly the manufacturer is having issues with that. So let's keep going here. According to two people close to Apple and contract manufacturer Luxshare, cited by the Financial Times, manufacturing bottlenecks have slashed Vision Pro orders. Apple has reportedly asked Luxshare, who is the primary maker of this, to make fewer than 400,000 units next year, down from the initial internal sales target of 1 million. So Apple initially thought that they were going to sell 1 million of these units next year. I personally don't think that that was going to happen. I was, like I said, I thought somewhere in the few $100,000 range, maybe even up to maybe 500 to 600,000. I don't think a million would have been wise. I don't think a million would have been practical based on being first gen, being a niche market, and the price tag. I don't think they would have hit a million. But now they're saying they're slashing it down to 400,000. So that's like over 50% production cost. China-based Luxer is said to be Apple's only Vision Pro assembler. Both parties declined to comment on the story naturally. Manufacturing issues have abounded for the past few years as a direct result of the pandemic-related closures. Not even Apple has been able to completely steer clear of the phenomena for existing devices. Yeah, we've seen everything be impacted by the pandemic and the government response to that, and how they shut down stuff, and how some of those shutdowns were prolonged beyond an extended period of time. And now we're starting to see those ramifications of those decisions, how things were not on the shelves. We were out of semiconductors for a while, and I'm sure this was also impacted by that. The addition of micro OLED displays further complicate the concerns. Presumably, other devices adopting the tech would or should ramp up production while bringing prices down, but mixed reality headsets remain a relatively unproven category. Yes, I've already talked about that. Additional knock-on effects include the reported pushback of the lower cost version of the headset that earlier rumors suggest pegged for a 2025 release. The company is no doubt hoping for a wider adoption of Apple's Vision headset following the Pro, which is targeted in part at bringing developers and corporations on board. The product has gotten good early marks from journalists and should get more interest once it's actually released early next year. But for a company like Apple, and more importantly its shareholders, that is unaccustomed to blockbuster products, such a deliberate approach is likely an exercise in frustration. Yeah, I'm sure Apple is frustrated. I'm sure Tim Cook is pissed, probably throwing stuff all around in his office on how they're going to have to cut back on this. But I do wonder how this is going to impact Apple's price, because we know they just hit the $3 trillion mark, being the world's most valuable company. I do wonder if once the markets open up, will this have a little bit of a negative effect on their stock? We will see. There's some more I want to go over. This is a second article out of Code of Mac. Vision Pro's complex design forces Apple to make significant production costs. Yeah, I've already told you what those complexities were. Apple reportedly made hefty cuts to its production goals for the Vision Pro due to headset's complex design, which makes mass production a challenge. Financial Times reports that Apple is manufacturing partner Luxshare will produce 4,000 units in 2024. But this right here I want to go over more importantly. Apple reportedly requested 2 of its China-based Vision Pro component suppliers to produce only enough materials for about 130,000 to 150,000 for the launch year. So seemingly this is a major cut in Apple's sales forecast for the Vision Pro. Internally, the company supposedly sets a sales target of 1 million targets for next year. So they won't be able to hit the 1 million next year. They more likely will hit obviously less than 400,000, but looks like they're thinking they're going to do about 130 to 150,000 dollars for the launch year. So again, that's probably what you would expect in the first, what's that? Oh, in the launch year, we're looking at the first quarter, because they said 130 to 150,000 units in the launch year. But they're saying that they're expected to hit about 400,000 this year. So what is it? Is it either 400,000 or is it 130 to 150,000 units that Apple is expecting to hit for its target for the launch year of 2024? It's going to be somewhere within that range. Again, for me, I thought a success for this headset would be between, like I said, a few 100,000. So we will see what that is. Keep going, one more part here. Cheaper Vision Pro headset could use an LG or Samsung supplied display. Multiple reports previously indicated that Apple is developing a cheaper Vision Pro headset for 2025 to keep the price in check. The company is working with Samsung, LG to produce a less expensive display for the model. So this brings me to my point and to Apple's strategy on the Vision Pro. So we know they're going to launch out with a $3,500 headset, and they're thinking about launching a cheaper version. My thought around this is that Apple should have done the reverse. Maybe they should have launched a cheaper version of the headset first, something that could hit sub $2,000. That would be a little bit more palatable for people to drop down for. Release that sub $2,000 headset. Obviously, scale back some of the scales. You didn't need to do something that was so, tech packed and, way out there that was not the norm. Because it would have given Apple a chance to get it out there to the public. They still could have had that Apple touch on it, that Apple design, but it would allow the people to get their hands on it to see what the future could be. Allow Apple to hammer out some of the production issues and to drum up more excitement for that. Considering that this is a niche market, being the VR, the AR, it's still very niche. It's really not doing very well. I think last year we saw a 50% reduction in VR headsets being sold. So I thought that they should have went that route with selling the cheaper model first. Let the public get their hands on it. Let them see what they can do. And then you come out with the more expensive headset in a couple of years. After you drum up the excitement, got the public aware of it, then I thought it would have been a better idea to do that. But I'm not the CEO of Apple, so this is something that, Apple's going to have to deal with. But that's what I would have done. But let me know what you guys think about this production pause by Apple. How many units do you think they're going to sell within their launch year? And do you think Apple should have probably released a cheaper version first, or do you think this is the right strategy for Apple? Just let me know down in the comment section. I would love to see your thoughts down there. Thank you for taking time out to watch this video. If you are new to this channel and you enjoy the type of content, please do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and hit that like button as well if you enjoyed that type of content. Also, if you want to stay up to date with the latest tech news, head over to the website soundsnerdy.com, where I curate and aggregate tech news from across the web covering Apple, Samsung, Google, Android, computing, and even more general tech news, all at the website soundsnerdy.com. And until the next video, guys, stay nerdy.